Hi friends, in our last class we talked about the term system. That means anything under observation. You know what? It has different types and system is classified into three categories, namely open system, closed system and isolated system. Well, let's understand them stepwise and first of all let's talk about open system. Now, the system is classified into three categories on the basis of the nature of the boundaries and how they interact with the surroundings. So, due to that, mainly we are going to study about the exchange of energy and matter. Well, sometimes both of the exchange take place and sometimes none of them happens. So, we have to see what is happening in each case. And first of all, let's talk about open system. So, when I say the term open system, what type of image comes to your mind? Well, maybe something which is not covered. Well, if you're thinking like that, you're going correct. Because open system, that is simply the type of system in which the exchange of energy as well as matter can take place. Sounds confusing? Well, let me clarify for you. Let's try to understand it this way. Now, as you can see that we are trying to heat water in a beaker. So that means that beaker that is open. As I said, we are talking about the open system. And if I say that water, that is the compound that we are studying about, right? So what does that mean? That means that water is the system. And apart from that, everything else is the surroundings. So what is happening? Well, when we heat the water, some of the water vapors, they might even go to the surroundings. And not just might, obviously they go into the surroundings. So that means that exchange of matter has taken place. Something that occupies mass and has space. That's what matter is. So water vapors, that is the matter and that has been given to the surroundings. So guys, one thing is done. That is, matter is getting exchanged. Now talking about the next one. So if I say it this way, that when we are heating the water, the flames that are coming from the burner, they are giving help to rise the temperature of the water. Correct? So if the temperature has risen, that means that energy has been given to the system. And that's what we want to talk about. The exchange of energy and the exchange of water. So while heating the water, we are providing the energy by means of flames. So we have exchanged both energy as well as matter. Alright guys, now moving ahead to the next one. The next one, that is the closed system. So again, if I ask you, what type of imagination does the word gives you? Now you might say that something which is covered maybe. Well, if you're thinking like that, you're totally correct. Because closed system is the one where exchange of energy can take place but exchange of matter cannot take place. Alright guys, now to understand that, let's take up the same setup again. But this time we will not use the beaker and we will use the closed apparatus like this. So when we are heating the water this time, would the water vapor go out in the surrounding? Well, it's not possible because it is completely covered and there is no place for them to do that. So if the water vapors, they are settled within the walls, that is, they are present on the boundary and they do not go into the surroundings. That means that no exchange of matter takes place. But similarly, since we are heating this, as we did in the previous one, the exchange of energy, obviously, because the temperature is rising, that has taken place. So we can say that exchange of energy is happening, but exchange of matter, that does not happen. Now guys, moving ahead to the third category, that is isolated system. So what does that mean? Well, simply it means there is no exchange with the surrounding. Neither the matter nor the energy can be exchanged. And that's what isolated system is. And if I talk about general example, you might have used this thermos flask to keep either your tea or soup or water, anything as hot, correct? So what does that mean? That means that it stays hot because there is no transfer of energy or the matter to the surroundings. And if I talk ideally guys, in principle if I say there is no such system which is completely isolated. But since we study like this, that's why we have to define it in this way. Alright guys, so this is how you can identify the three types of system if any example is given to you. Now let's move ahead and take one step further and discuss about the properties which are called as thermodynamic properties. Well, in this case, we are going to talk about two different properties, namely intensive properties and extensive properties. But before getting into the exact definition, let's try to understand it this way. Okay guys, so now the apparatus that I'm going to tell you is just for the understanding and not for a real thing that you can do. So now let's do this thing. Let's take up the different properties. Let's take up mass, volume, pressure, temperature, refractive index, number of moles, like these small boxes. Okay, then if I keep all of them in this big box and then I do a partition into that, so you know what? Some of the properties are going to change while some of the properties are going to remain the same. Well, what is this? Let's understand that. Alright guys, now first of all, if I say that I want to talk about the temperature. If the temperature of this box before doing the partition was 30 degrees Celsius, then I've done the partition. Well, now my question for you is it going to affect the temperature? This part or this part of the box, are they going to have different temperature other than 30? No, that is not happening. Both of the portions that we have got after the partition will still have the same temperature. Same way, if I talk about pressure, well, pressure is also a common thing, and now when I've done the partition, even then the pressure for this partition and for this one is still the same. Even that has not changed. Alright, so let's keep temperature and pressure on this side. Then I say, if the mass of this box was initially 2 kg, then I did the partition, so that means that mass of this portion and this portion is different. That is obvious because we have done the partition. It might be 500 gram for this one and 1.5 kg for this one. Same way, now if I say that I have a rope which is 2 meter long, then I say, well, that's an assumption, it is not exactly 2 meter. Then I say I've done the partition from here. So what do you see? The length of this and this rope is different. It's not same as 2. It might be 0.4, it might be 1.6. So what is happening? Both these quantities, they have changed their values on doing the partition, correct? So let's keep them to a different side. Mass and length on this side. Alright, so first of all, if I talk about the intensive properties, these are the ones which do not depend upon the size of matter or the size of the system and are unaffected by it. For example, density, molarity, molality, temperature, pressure and refractive index. And there are many more, and these are just for understanding. What you need to know is that mainly what is intensive and what is extensive. Or if I say it this way, that In of intensive, In of independent. So intensive property is independent of the partition or independent of the size of the matter. Now guys, similarly, if I have to define the extensive properties or the properties that I have listed down in this case, well, these are the properties whose magnitude that depends upon the quantity of matter present in the system. For example, I can say mass, length, volume, enthalpy and entropy. So guys, the examples that I've told you, some of them are the old ones and some of them are totally new for you. Well, don't worry and don't get confused. We have to study each one of them in very detail in the upcoming videos. For now, it is important for you to just understand the concept, what is extensive and what is intensive. As gradually we will move forward, you're going to understand all the terms and what do they mean. Alright guys, now let me tell you an interesting thing. Every time when you divide two extensive properties, we get intensive properties. Well, let's understand that. If I pick up mass and volume from the table, that is under extensive properties. So if I divide mass with volume, what do I get? You have done that many times. That is what density refers to. And don't we see that density is under the section of intensive properties? And that's what I just said. Every time we divide two extensive properties, we get intensive property. Alright, guys, so this was a basic introduction about the different types of systems. We are going to learn about the different types of processes in our next coming classes. And we are going to even learn each of the examples, the new terms that I told you in the upcoming videos. Before that, let's summarize what we have learned in this class. Open system. This type of system can exchange both energy as well as matter with the surroundings. Closed system. This type of system can exchange energy and not matter with the surroundings, and the energy is in the form of heat or work. Isolated system. This type of system has no interaction with the surroundings. Neither the matter nor the energy can be exchanged with the surroundings. It is totally insulated and sealed. Intensive properties. These are the properties which do not depend upon the quantity of matter or the size of the system. For example, molarity, molality, temperature, pressure. Extensive properties. These are the properties whose magnitude depends upon the quantity of matter present in the system. For example, mass, volume, length, enthalpy, and entropy.